It was a case that captivated Central Ohio and beyond. Back in 2015, Judy Malinowski was doused with gasoline and set on fire by her boyfriend, Michael Slagle, after months of abuse.
The Gahanna woman who inspired legislation for tougher sentences in felonious assault cases died today. Judy Malinowski was just 33 years old.
Despite being told she would have just hours to live, Judy fought for 700 days before she died. But before her death, she recorded a statement that would later be used in Slagle's murder trial.
LA prosecutor Ron O'Brien calls this case unprecedented. Slager is now charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated murder.
A shocking incident unfolded at a Speedway petrol station. Unfortunately, the whole ordeal was captured on CCTV. A man in a red sweater jumped out of a black pickup truck and got into a fierce argument with a woman named Judy Malinowski. The row escalated, and before anyone knew it, the man had doused her with a liquid, setting her clothes ablaze. What was truly chilling was that he remained calm and then walked away without lifting a finger to help her. His behavior raised serious doubts about his claim that it was merely a dreadful accident involving a cigarette lighter. Judy's mother, Bonnie, received a heart-wrenching phone call that sent her rushing to the hospital where her daughter was fighting for her life. This horrific incident may have exposed a worrying pattern of violence on the part of the suspect, raising concerns about previous offenses and other potential victims. Thankfully, the CCTV footage proved invaluable in the investigation, allowing the authorities to review the evidence and take swift action. The outcome ultimately determined Judy's fate and whether the truth would bring the perpetrator to justice, putting an end to his destructive behavior once and for all. Bonnie arrived at the Ohio University Wexner Medical Center filled with anxiety and questions about her daughter, Judy Malinowski. Upon entering the trauma bay, she inadvertently entered Michael Slager's room, where the presence of law enforcement only added to her confusion. Redirected to Judy's bedside, Bonnie was confronted with a heartbreaking scene. Her 31-year-old daughter lay in critical condition, having suffered severe burns that affected over 80% of her body. Judy's injuries had been sustained on August 2, 2015, at a petrol station in Columbus Speedway, and she remained in a coma with minimal chances of survival. Bonnie was unaware of the details surrounding the incident, which was under investigation at the time, and the police presence suggested a more troubling situation. Michael Slager, who had allegedly attacked Judy, was being treated nearby, his hands bandaged and burned, claiming that Judy had accidentally ignited herself while refueling. However, his account raised significant doubts. Judy's fight for survival had only just begun, and Bonnie's quest for the truth would soon reveal a disturbing reality. The medical team's prognosis had been grim, indicating a 110% mortality rate due to Judy's age and the severity of her injuries, leaving little room for hope. As Bonnie faced this harrowing situation, she remained resolute in her determination to uncover the truth behind her daughter's tragic circumstances. The investigators' skeptical looks had suggested a deeper, more troubling reality, yet the truth had remained hidden. As Judy had fought for her life, Bonnie's sense of desperation had intensified. The atmosphere had been thick with silence, broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the life support machines. Bonnie's world had been disintegrating, forcing her to confront the fragments of a shattered existence. The stark contrast between Judy's critical condition and Michael's relatively minor injuries had only deepened the enigma. With Judy's condition having stabilized, investigators decided to awaken her from her artificial coma. Despite the potential for renewed discomfort, their urgency was driven by the necessity of her testimony to advance the investigation. Upon regaining consciousness, Judy exhibited remarkable strength, demonstrating her ability to hear and comprehend those around her. Her subtle responses offered vital information regarding the circumstances that had led to her injuries.
Can you hear me? Judy, did you spill gas on yourself? No. Did Mike spill gas on you? Yes. Yes? Okay.
The police had gathered enough evidence to contest Michael's assertion of an accidental spill. Their focus shifted to him, and his narrative began to disintegrate. Michael was subsequently taken into custody, facing charges of felonious assault and aggravated arson. A pivotal piece of evidence sealed his fate: surveillance footage from a nearby ATM that had recorded the entire incident. Investigators reviewed the footage, which clearly implicated Michael, rendering his version of events implausible. Michael's arrest represented a significant advancement in the investigation, while Judy's bravery in the face of extreme suffering had provided a crucial turning point. Her testimony, though unspoken, had conveyed profound truths about the tragic incident. Michael's alibi had begun to disintegrate as investigators identified discrepancies in his account. His original assertion of an accidental spill had been supplanted by a convoluted narrative of revenge, in which he claimed Judy's actions had provoked him. According to Michael, Judy had thrown a drink at him, leading to a heated confrontation. In a misguided effort to damage her clothing, he had admitted to pouring petrol over her, asserting he had never intended to ignite it. However, this version of events was undermined by incriminating CCTV footage. The evidence had depicted a troubling series of actions. Michael had poured petrol over Judy's head, leaned in, and callously ignited her. This intentional act had resulted in devastating injuries for Judy. As Michael's fabrications had unraveled, his solicitor had arrived, suggesting a defense strategy centered on the notion of intent. They had contended Michael had not intentionally inflicted severe harm on Judy, but had rather panicked and fabricated a story in the aftermath. The investigation had reached a pivotal moment, with Michael's culpability appearing increasingly evident. His actions, recorded on video, had narrated a chilling tale of calculated malice, leaving little room for doubt. Judy's extraordinary resilience had surpassed medical predictions as she fought for her life, enduring month after month. In spite of the severity of her burns, she had undergone numerous surgeries, her condition oscillating between optimism and despair. Her mother had maintained a constant vigil, anxiously hoping for signs of improvement. Judy's history had depicted a young woman motivated by love and compassion, with aspirations of creating a simple life filled with a loving family. Prior to the tragedy, Judy had embraced motherhood at the age of 21, with her future dreams focused on finding a committed partner to share both the joys and challenges of life. Meanwhile, investigators had devised strategies, anticipating that Judy's potential passing would bolster their case against Michael. However, her unexpected revival from the coma had disrupted their plans. As she emerged from the shadows, Judy's confusion and fear were evident. The memories surrounding the events leading to the fire had remained elusive, yet her resolve to reclaim her life had shone brighter than ever. With Judy's awakening, the investigation had transitioned into a new phase, aimed at uncovering the truth behind the atrocious crime. Her remarkable recovery had ignited hope for justice, and her bravery had inspired those in her vicinity. Judy's path to recovery had been accompanied by a shocking revelation. Michael, her assailant, had been incarcerated. Her emotional response had unveiled a complicated array of sentiments.
You understand the prognosis is not good, correct?
No.
But you're fighting against it, right?
Yes.
Investigative efforts had revealed Michael's troubling past, characterized by numerous serious offenses, including theft, domestic violence, menacing, assault, and a sexual offense that had been reduced to a charge of sexual battery. Aftermath: Michael had initially approached Judy via Facebook, expressing love and commitment. His persuasive messages had preyed on Judy's vulnerabilities, particularly her battle with addiction to pain medication, which she had struggled with.
And you had some complications as a result of that surgery, correct?
Yes. I was placed on very strong painkillers. I got addicted to them.
As the reality of Michael's character had emerged, Judy's family and friends had recognized that she'd been deceived by his false persona. His professed love had been a calculated deception, masking a background of manipulation and aggression. Judy's anxiety had grown as she had comprehended the gravity of Michael's actions. Her focus had shifted from compassion to self-protection, igniting a resolve to pursue justice. The stark disparity between Michael's declarations and his conduct had become evident. His utter lack of remorse for his atrocious crime had exposed his true nature, leaving Judy and her family deeply unsettled. Judy's struggle with addiction had escalated after her procedure, prompting her to place her daughters in the care of their grandmother, Bonnie, while she had undergone treatment at Parkside Rehabilitation Center. Through her unwavering commitment and participation in numerous weekly meetings, Judy had managed to regain her stability and achieve sobriety. Unfortunately, her progress had been fleeting, as Michael Slugger's arrival had initiated a downward trajectory in her recovery. Michael had taken advantage of Judy's weaknesses, exacerbating her addiction and asserting dominance over her. He had subjected her to physical abuse, and despite her efforts to break free, he had consistently found ways to draw her back in. Michael had skillfully manipulated the authorities, presenting himself as a concerned partner whenever Judy had sought assistance. His calculated maneuvers had concealed a malevolent agenda. Judy's family had remained oblivious to the full extent of her anguish until she had awoken in the hospital, her body bruised and her spirit shattered. The reunion with her daughters and siblings had been tinged with sadness, as they had grappled with reconciling the woman they saw before them with the vibrant individual they once had cherished. Michael's trial had commenced in December 2016, and he had faced charges of aggravated arson and felonious assault. As Judy's health had improved, her resolve to testify had grown stronger. However, Michael had abruptly entered a no-contest plea, circumventing the trial process and silencing her voice. The judge had subsequently imposed an 11-year prison sentence on Michael, which had represented the maximum penalty for his offenses. This outcome had underscored the stark contrast between Judy's lifelong suffering and Michael's comparatively brief incarceration. Michael's plea change had had profound implications, depriving Judy of the opportunity to present her testimony and recount her experiences in court. Nevertheless, Judy's determination had remained steadfast. Her daughters had served as her primary motivation and source of strength, encouraging her to persist in her quest for justice and survival. Her ordeal had ignited a passion within her to advocate for victims of domestic violence and to champion legislative reforms. Judy's narrative had stood as a powerful reminder of the harrowing effects of domestic violence and the urgent need for societal change. Her indomitable spirit and unwavering commitment had propelled her forward, even amidst significant challenges. Judy's Law, named in honor of Judy Malinowski, had sought to extend the maximum penalty for the intentional disfigurement of an individual by up to 20 years. This legislative effort had exemplified Judy's steadfast resolve to effect change, even amidst significant challenges that she had faced. While the law would not have altered the outcome of her own case, Judy had remained committed to advocating for other survivors of domestic violence. whom she had inspired through her courage. Judy's health had significantly declined, rendering her bedridden and in persistent discomfort. Medical professionals had focused on her well-being, providing her with the highest standard of care that she had required. Her mother, Bonnie, had remained by her side, grappling with the emotional turmoil of potentially losing her daughter, a pain she had endured for a long time. Proposal that could have led to justice and closure, a resolution they had sought for so long. The possibility of a murder trial had been on the horizon, and Judy's legacy had been at stake. Despite the prevailing uncertainty that had surrounded her, Judy's indomitable spirit had continued to inspire hope among those around her. Judy's narrative had emerged as a poignant testament to the resilience and bravery inherent in the human spirit, qualities that she had embodied throughout her ordeal. Her legacy had persisted as a symbol of hope for those impacted by domestic violence and a demonstration of the profound influence one individual had exerted on the world. In a remarkable development, prosecutors had made an extraordinary request to Judy to provide testimony regarding her own homicide. This unprecedented approach had never been attempted in the United States, positioning Judy's case as a pivotal moment in American legal history. To evaluate Judy's mental capacity, medical professionals stopped her pain medication, prompting concerns for her health. Judy's mother, Bonnie, faced a heart-wrenching decision, weighing Judy's fragile condition against the potential consequences of her testimony. Judy had undergone 60 surgeries and spent 2 years in the hospital, overcoming immense pain and hardship before moving to a care facility, marking the end of her medical treatment. Although her body had been severely affected by persistent pain and was on the brink of failure,
It hurts so bad. I don't want to do it. I have to.
Judy's unwavering spirit and determination remained intact. As Judy prepared to testify, her family and supporters held their breath, anxiously awaiting the outcome.
Tell me your name and that you're ready to testify.
Hi, my name is Judy Malinowski, and I am ready to testify on Thursday.
All right.
Would her courage be enough to spark change, or would the system let her down again?
I looked at him and he pulled a lighter out of his pocket and he started walking towards me, and I just remember crying and begging for help, and he let me on fire. And
Judy's testimony ultimately proved a pivotal moment in the battle against domestic violence, motivating countless individuals to find the courage to share their own stories. Judy Malinowski's courageous testimony during her own murder trial marked a significant moment in history. She became the first victim to provide testimony posthumously. Sadly, Judy passed away on June 27, 2017, after a 700-day battle. Her recorded testimony was permitted in court due to a groundbreaking legal decision. Prosecutor Ron O'Brien pursued charges of murder and aggravated murder against Michael Slager, which could have resulted in the death penalty. Judy's legacy endured, inspiring countless people with her bravery and resilience. Her testimony ensured that her voice was heard, demanding accountability and expanding the horizons of justice. Judy's family, including her mother Bonnie and 2 young daughters, drew strength from her bravery as they continued their quest for justice. The trial's outcome paid tribute to Judy's memory, solidifying her influence on the legal system and beyond. Judy Malinowski's brave testimony marked a pivotal moment in her case, transforming her narrative into a source of inspiration for victims across the nation. On July 5, 2018, Judy delivered a 3-hour account in court, demonstrating extraordinary courage as she recounted her traumatic ordeal despite her compromised physical state. Her family, including her mother Bonnie and daughters Kaylin and Madison, had eagerly anticipated the moment when Judy would share her experience. The defense's extensive cross-examination sought to challenge Judy's credibility. However, she stood firm, responding to each question with unwavering resolve. Judy's testimony made a lasting impact on the justice system, ensuring that her legacy would persist and motivate others to pursue justice. Her family's steadfast commitment had ignited a movement that redefined victims' rights, solidifying Judy's role as a symbol of justice. The trial drew to a close, with prosecutors and Judy's family having advocated for the maximum penalty for Michael, who had been responsible for her horrific death. However, an unexpected development had arisen when Judy's previously recorded testimony revealed her opposition to the death penalty.
I want you to tell a future judge what you want to see happen to Mr. Slager.
I would like to see him charged with murder and do a life sentence. I think that he deserves that.
Instead, supporting life imprisonment. Michael's evident lack of remorse had further solidified the case against him. He had pleaded guilty to aggravated murder without the capital specification and had received a life sentence.
You will spend the rest of your natural life in prison.
Malinowski gets her wish. Slager avoids the death penalty, but will go to prison for life.
This verdict had elicited a complex array of emotions in Judy's family, encompassing relief, sorrow, and pride. Judy's legacy had persisted through her daughters, Kaylin and Madison, who had committed themselves to continuing their mother's pursuit of justice. They had become fervent supporters of Judy's law, dedicating themselves to safeguarding victims and their families. The outcome of the trial had stood as a testament to Judy's indomitable spirit and resolve. Judy's family had found comfort in knowing that she had sought justice without desiring revenge, demonstrating that she had been fundamentally different from Michael. Amidst their grief, Kaylin and Madison had discovered a sense of purpose in upholding their mother's legacy, driven by their ambition to enact Judy's law and ensure that her sacrifice would not be in vain. The enactment of Judy's law had served as a permanent homage to Judy's memory, offering protection to numerous victims and their families from enduring similar tragedies. Her brave narrative had continued to motivate, serving as a guiding light for justice and safety. Kaylin Malinowski demonstrated remarkable courage when she testified before a Senate committee, championing a legislative measure that had aimed to transform the lives of numerous survivors of domestic violence. The successful passage of the bill, known as Judy's Law, was celebrated as every representative had cast their vote in favor, marking a pivotal achievement in the battle against domestic violence. This new legislation had introduced an extension of 6 years to sentences for offences involving accelerants such as gasoline, thereby imposing stricter penalties on offenders. Such enhanced sentencing had been intended to act as a deterrent, fostering a safer environment for victims and their families. In tribute to their mother's legacy, Kaylin and Madison joined forces with advocacy organizations to assist survivors and share Judy's narrative, sparking a national dialogue on domestic violence. Their efforts inspired others to take action, resulting in a significant and lasting influence. The sisters' courage and resolve sparked a movement with the promise of fostering meaningful change. Judy's Law emerged as a potent emblem of their unwavering dedication, providing hope to those impacted by domestic violence. This groundbreaking legislation offered essential protections and support services, enabling survivors to reconstruct their lives. Through their tireless endeavors, Kaylin and Madison ensured that their mother's legacy persisted, motivating a safer and more compassionate future for generations to come. Their initiatives cultivated a culture of empathy and awareness, urging others to participate in the battle against domestic violence. As a reflection of their commitment, Kaylin and Madison received extensive recognition for their advocacy. Their altruism and determination transformed tragedy into a powerful force for positive change. Judy Malinowski's courageous story transformed tragedy into hope, leaving an indelible mark on the fight against domestic violence. Her legacy, perpetuated by her daughters Kaylin and Madison, ignited change through Judy's law, safeguarding countless lives from similar tragedies. Judy's unwavering spirit served as a powerful reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope could prevail, inspiring strength in survivors' voices, community support, empowering laws, and love conquering violence, ultimately guiding us toward a brighter future where domestic violence was eradicated, honoring her memory and reaffirming our commitment to a safer, more compassionate world. Thanks for watching, and remember to share your thoughts on what drove the perpetrator to commit such a heinous crime. Your opinion matters. Like, share, and comment below. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for updates.